Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. McGowan. Today we are going to go over telling time. Has anyone ever asked you, hey, what time is it? Or, hey, do you want to come over? What time can you come over? Or how about, what time do you go to bed? What time do you eat dinner? What time do you get up for school? Well, it's hard to answer those questions if you don't know how to tell time. So for today, we're going to start working on telling time to the nearest hour. And we're going to start doing that by going over all of the hours on a clock. So I have our clock here, and then I also have our long hand here. That's our minute hand. Now the one on my finger here, this is our shorthand, this is our hour hand. This one is our important one when telling time to the hour, because whatever number this little arrow points to is the hour it is. So we have, if we start here, so 1 o'clock, say it with me, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and then we have, can you see that? There you go, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then when you get all the way back up here, we say that that's 12 o'clock. That's when both your hands are pointing to the 12, your hour hand and your minute hand. Now, when we go to look at a clock and you can tell what time it is to the hour, it's important that you also know how to write that time. Sometimes you see clocks that look like the bottom part of my card here. Can you see that? Sometimes on your alarm clocks or the clocks in your parents' cars or maybe even like on your microwave or on your stove, it'll look like this. It'll be in numbers instead of like this clock. So we are going to look at some little flashcards and we're going to practice telling time to the hour and writing what that time looks like. Now, the first thing you have to do is you have to notice that whenever it's a new hour, the long hand here, your minute hand, is always pointing on the 12. So that hand's always going to stay on the 12 and it's going to be a new hour. Now the one hand that's going to change is your shorthand or this hour hand. And the hour hand, it'll go around the clock and point to different hours throughout the day, just like this. And so we need to realize when it's pointing the small hour hand to a number and your big minute hand's on the 12, that that's a new hour. So if we look at this card here, you notice that the big hand, your minute hand's on the 12, and I put in red your hour hand, and you can see that that's pointing to the 11. So when we look at that, we would say that it's 11 o'clock. Now to write that, look at your hour hand first, because that's the number you write first. So if our hour hand up here is pointing to the 11, you write the 11 first. There's the 11. Now anytime that it's a new hour and your minute hand is pointing on the 12, your last two numbers are always 0, 0. So when we look at this card and they ask what time it is, we could say that it's 11 o'clock. Your hour hand's on the 11, your minute hand's on the 12. Now if your long minute hand wasn't on the 12, it wouldn't say 11 o'clock. So we write 11, then you have dot, dot, 0, 0. Now it's 11 o'clock. This one, the hour hand is pointing to the 7 and your minute hand's on the 12, so we would say that this one is 7 o'clock. Now to write that, it's going to be 7 dot dot 0 0. That's how we would write it. So we would say that it's 7 o'clock. On here, we got to make sure, is our minute hand on the 12? Yep, so now it's a new hour. What hour is our hour hand pointing to? What number is that? Right, that's the 8. So we would say that it's 8 o'clock. So it's going to be 8 dot dot 0 0. Just like this. Okay, here's our next one. Next one looks like this. Hour hand is on the 10 and your minute hand is on the 12, so you know that it's a new hour. So you start with the hour, which is 10. So it would be 10 dot dot 0 0, and the time would be 10 o'clock. Look just like that. Here's your next one. Here's one that we talked about with the clock when we finished it up on the big one. Both hands are on the 12. So since your big hand's on the 12, you know it's a new hour. And now your small hour hand is pointing on the 12. So when we write this, we start with the hour, which we said is 12. So you write 12, and since it's a new hour, it's dot dot 0 0. So we would say that it's 12 o'clock. Now be careful when you see ones like this, because it's straight up and down. Now, like I said, I did the hour hand in red, right here for you. And then your minute hand, is the long one, is in black. So start with the hour, and that's pointing to the number 6. So we would say that it's 6 o'clock. So we're going to do 6 dot dot 0 0. And it's going to look like that. Here's your next one. The red hour hand is on your 9. Your long minute hand's on the 12, so it's a new hour. Start with your hour hand, and we would say that it's 9 o'clock. So we're going to do 9 dot dot 0 0. And it's going to look just like that. 9 o'clock. Here's another one. Now, long minute hand's on the 12, so it's a new hour. Your short hour hand is pointing to the 3, so we start with that and we say that it's 3 o'clock. So we're going to do 3 dot dot 0 0. And we say 3 o'clock. This one, long minute hand's on the 12, so it's a new hour. Your short hour hand is pointing to the 1, so you start with that and you say it's 1 o'clock. 1 dot dot 0 0. 1 o'clock. Okay, we're going to start with the hour. That's your short red hand, so it's 4. So if it's on the 4 and your minute hand's on the 12, we say that it's 4 o'clock. 4 dot dot 0 0. Four o'clock. Just a couple more of these. All right, so now you have your long minute hands on the 12, so we have a new hour. Then your small hour hand is pointing to the number 5, if you can see that. So you start with the hour hand. You say that it's 5 o'clock. 5 dot dot 0 0. Five o'clock. Okay, last one. Your long minute hand is pointing to the 12, so it's a new hour. Which hour is it? Well, look at your short hour hand. It's pointing to the number 2. So we would say that it's 2 o'clock. So we're going to do 2 dot dot 0 0. 2 o'clock. All right, let's review these really quickly. All right, repeat after me. 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And our last one, 11 o'clock. All right, so now I want you to make sure that you find day 1 math in your packet that we had sent home. And you are going to find a page that looks like this. It says time to the hour. So now your job is to cut out all of the clocks. You need to figure out what time they say and glue them to the matching time. For example, we'll do this first one. If I look at this clock right here, you see that? All right, the big minute hand's to the 12. Your short hour hand is pointing to the 9. So this one would be 9 o'clock. So now remember how we said we write it. If it's 9 o'clock, it's 9 ... 00. So now you have to find the picture of the little boy or the little girl holding this clock that says 9 o'clock. So if we look right down here, she's holding the clock that says 9 o'clock. So we would cut this one out. You see that? Cut this one out, and you would glue it right there where it says 9 o'clock. Now, make sure before you start, your name goes at the top and that you're doing day 1 math. All right, if you have any questions about this, make sure to get a hold of your teacher. Have a good day.